Reincarnated as a Sword. We see that the new character is a chubby guy named August Olsson. Shisho is surprised to notice that he could not anticipate his presence and senses that there is something strange about this man. But our character is not just any person. In fact, he is a cabler and the vice captain of the Knights of Alessa. The new character reveals that he has an ability that reveals falsehood and lying doesn't work on him. But Shisho realizes something strange because in part they were telling the truth since the stone did disappear. Shisho inspects Olsson and realizes that he is a very low-level knight and that he cannot notice his presence thanks to a magic ring. He also realizes that his ability serves to make a person's lies be taken as truth and thus confuse the person more quickly. Shisho realizes that the knight has used his ability to defame people and to sentence and execute whomever he wants. Olsson starts complaining in front of the guild leader and demands him to punish Fran, claiming that she's a liar, but the guild leader tells him that he cannot control Fran and that she alone defeated the great demon and is not on his level. When the pot-bellied knight realizes that he will not be able to defeat Fran because of his high level, he demands that at least the loot be confiscated. But the guildmaster asks him why he thinks he has the right to claim the loot. He reminds him that his knights never came to help, and Olsson defends himself by saying that he could not send his soldiers to a place that was not safe. He ends by saying that such activities should be for low-ranking adventurers. But the guildmaster responds sharply that these adventurers risk their lives and will not allow them to be offended in this way. The guildmaster takes confidence and also tells him that he does not believe that the captain of the Knights of Alessa has rejected his message unless that message never arrived. With this, the knight is cornered when he realizes that there's no one in the room to protect him, so he pulls out the usual tactic of all little rich boys and calls his daddy. But to smoke the peace pipe, Fran decides to offer some horns for peace, but the knight is offended and throws them to the floor. Fran is upset and has a face like, "I'm gonna kill you." Fran asks Shisho if she can kill the knight, but Shisho says, "How can you think of it, girl? Why so wild?" Despite not being able to kill August Olsson, Shisho tells Fran that he can be a perfect victim to test his new ability, Steal Skills. We realize that both Fran and Shisho can steal one skill at a time, which means 2 skills. They steal the ability to detect lies and also the ability to know how to behave in court. To test the power, Fran makes a cutting salute and asks the gentleman if he can tell he is lying or not. But the gentleman doesn't know what to answer as he wipes the snot out of his mouth with his finger. Olsson realizes he can't use his abilities and runs out of the office while farting. In the end, the guildmaster apologizes for the bad moment and explains that August bought his position with influence and money, and that he uses knights to do the job for him, so he's glad that such a despicable being has finally left the guild premises. The master tells Fran that she will be upgraded to level D and pick her reward. The reward is quite large and our heroes are happy. On the way out, many adventurers recognize Fran and approach her to offer their services or help. Shisho suggests to Fran that she use some of the money to buy them all a drink, and they celebrate the idea with a toast. In the evening, Fran has fallen asleep from drinking so much, while Shisho watches over Fran's sleep and reflects to himself that Fran is an amazing person and that he will always be around to protect her. Shisho experiences a kind of vision or dream. Although he's a sword and swords do not sleep, in his vision he sees 3 human figures telling him to touch the sword, and when he does, he realizes that the sword is him. When Shisho reacts, he realizes that he's in the middle of the forest next to Fran. Shisho doesn't know exactly what happened. He thinks it's a dream, although he's not entirely convinced by the answer since swords don't dream. In the forest, Shisho sets out to fulfill his promise and prepares a pile of wood with Fran so that they can eat it whenever they want. First they cook the meat and store it in Shisho's bottomless hole. Then they prepare curry with intermediate spice and Fran finds it the most delicious thing in the world. Then Shisho prepares the spicier and lighter version. But Fran doesn't care because this cat swallows everything she finds. Back in the city, our heroes realize that there are 2 people following them. Olsson comes out to meet them, transformed into an unrecognizable beast. In short, since he was robbed of his abilities, everything has gone wrong, and he thinks Fran has cast a spell on him. Our heroes begin to toy with him and use his stolen abilities against him to confuse him. But out of the shadows comes a new character, a blue cat named Guran, who claims to despise black cats and promises to end Fran's life. Fran is furious and Shisho notices. He asks her why she's like that, and Fran replies that blue cats are enemies of black cats, and thanks to them, her race has suffered a lot of mistreatment and injustice. Shisho thinks that he has never seen Fran so upset. Then we see a mysterious character who gets rid of his enemies very easily, deftly using the whip, and slowly approaches the city. We leave our heroes about to fight the big blue cat. Fran tells Shisho that all the blue cats did to the black cats in the past. He tells her that it is because of them that they were enslaved and despised by everyone. But Gurren seems very sure of himself and starts to show us his bloodthirsty side. Gurren surrounds Fran and has fun with her, knowing that Fran has a problem with blue cats, and the fear does not let her answer or think clearly. Gurren tells Fran that she has killed many black cats and has always felt satisfaction when she ended their lives. She wonders if Fran will bring her the same satisfaction. Gurren attacks without warning, but Shisho warns Fran and she blocks the blow with difficulty. Shisho is surprised by the blue cat's sword as it's stronger than the demon sword they fought before. Gurren gives Fran a big kick in the stomach and they start telling about her murders of the black cats to make Fran tremble and feel dread of him. But Shisho gives her courage and tells her that she's not the same as before. She reminds him that she was able to defeat the demon and that she has raised her level a lot, so she has nothing to be afraid of. But Fran is not afraid. What she has is a great pent-up rage towards the blue cats. While Gura boasts and laughs at her cruel murders, Fran is ready to take a breath and is ready to attack. Suddenly Fran appears with Gura's sword in her hand, telling him that it's not as good as his sword, but she'll keep Gura's sword as a souvenir. The blue cat is surprised as he didn't see when Fran took the sword from him and starts the butchery. First the left leg, then to avoid making it uneven, he cuts off the right leg. Gura screams in pain, and as he seems to be having a great time, he has to say goodbye to his right hand. Gura is at Fran's mercy, but he shouts saying that she can't beat him as she is of a lower level than him. When Fran is about to deliver the final blow, Shisho tells Fran that she doesn't have to kill him. But Fran tells her that if she leaves him alive, more black cats will die because of Gura, and that she is the one who will have to face the consequences of that decision. So Fran sticks the tip of her sword in Gura's mouth, and before he can complain any further, she mercilessly decapitates him. As you might guess, August is screaming for his life, and Fran asks Shisho if they should kill the gentleman Olsson as well. But a ball of water arrives on the scene and says that he can't let them kill that man. Shisho recognizes the voice and realizes it is the guildmaster. Once in the guild office, the master explains that what he used to find them is a water spirit and tells them about Knight August. He tells them that his father, Count Holmes, asked them to find him and save his life, but not because he has so much love for his son, but because he's facing charges for disrespecting royalty in court and running off with a large sum of stolen money. So they need the knight so he can be sentenced or pay a large fine for his crimes. Fran is satisfied after being told that she will get a big reward for capturing Olsson, and on her way out of the office she bumps into a nice pair of melons. But what melons? The woman with the big breast is the mysterious character we recently saw using the whip and finishing off her enemies with no problem. But it turns out that this character is a slightly crazy half-elf who claims to be Fran's mom. Then starts a child molestation like My One-Hit Kill Sister, where everyone is depraved and half the series is spent touching each other. What? Did it make you want to watch it already? We also have a summary of that series, so you can go watch it immediately after this summary. Back to our story, the teacher interviews her and tells her not to overdo it because of her fondness for children and calls her Amanda. The elf obeys and stops her bullying. The master explains that the elf is an A-rank adventurer and that despite her odd behavior, she is the star of the guild. Shisho inspects her and realizes that she is 58 years old, but because of her elven blood, she still looks very young. He also realizes that she is too strong and that Fran would not stand a chance against her. Amanda recognizes Fran as a black cat everyone's talking about and shakes her hand. This woman is bipolar. A few minutes ago she was asking for a kiss and now she's content with a handshake? Who understands her? The next day Fran meets Amanda in the forest and the same thing happens in the library and the store when she wakes up in the bathroom. Who is this child molester? Fran asks Nell if Amanda is crazy, but she responds by saying that she is a bit odd and eccentric, but a good person. She tells him that she has an inordinate affection for children and that she's been taking care of an orphanage for a long time. That's why she's been named the Children's Advocate. Her title has even been approved by the gods, who, seeing her actions and her love for the children, have made her the guardian of all of them. Amanda shows up again and says that it's a great coincidence that they'll meet again, but Fran tells her not to lie, that she's a stalker. Fran goes to see the guildmaster at Nell's direction, and the master informs her that he has a surprise for her. The master pulls out from a bag a pile of monster crystals from the days when he was an adventurer. Shisho gets excited about the crystals and identifies a few that have good power. The master tells you that he will let you choose 2 of the crystals. They all belong to monsters of class D or higher. But before she can have the crystals, she must complete a quest. There's a nearby dungeon called the Spider's Nest, which he wants her to check out. Then they get locked in a bargaining game worthy of experienced traders. Fran is an expert haggler and in the end raises her price from 2 to 5 crystals. Shisho congratulates Fran, saying that she is a great businesswoman, and asks her why there is so much interest in the dungeon. The master responds unclearly, but in between all the talk he says that his position as guildmaster is in danger, and that some people accuse him of liking young and beautiful women, to which the master says that's absurd. What does this have to do with the dungeon? No idea, but let's get on with the plot. There's something suspicious here, and we'll surely find out later. For the master's mission to be done in full effectivity, he promises Fran that if she completes the mission, she'll get a pass to the Ulmut dungeon. Fran asks him how he knew that she was interested in going to the dungeon, but the master responds by saying that he is the head of the guild and he knows everything. Suspicious. Suddenly, someone breaks the office door and it's Amanda. She says she overheard the conversation. Yeah, right. And since she's a good person, she volunteers to accompany Fran on the mission. The guildmaster has run out of the office door and curses his luck for having so many crazy and talented women in his environment, but in the end he accepts the proposal as he knows Amanda is a guarantee for the mission to be completed. While Fran eats her curry and prepares for the mission, Shisho checks the crystals and hurries to consume them. After consuming them, Shisho begins to glow and the system indicates that the Evo card's been activated. Shisho gets excited, saying that the rank increase he's been waiting for has finally arrived. Fran congratulates him and asks about his new skills. Shisho replies that he has acquired many and that most of them are water skills, but that it will take him some time to learn and master each of them. Shisho congratulates Fran, telling him that he's become stronger but not to be careless and that they still have a lot of room for improvement. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Subscribe and activate all notifications so you won't miss any of our summaries. If you liked the video, don't forget to like it and comment what you thought, and if possible, share it with your friends. See you until next time.